Certified?
Certified.
Yes, you have to be certifiable first, and then they certify you. As a hypnotherapist, the main thing to know is that I care. I'm always there. I come from a case of compassion, no judgments, and I've been a healer and problem solver all my life. So, anybody have any problems with stress? Okay, show your hands. Okay, you. What sort of things happen that stress you out?
Things don't close on time with business, having to manage several clients at one time, then go home and deal with the family. You want more specific?
If we came to the office, we'd get more specific.
Okay.
What I would be doing with you is, that, of course, at first, because hypnotherapy works with ultimately behavior, the body, the mind-body connection, we'd work on making you feel calm. Instead of getting that kind of nervous feeling, you get a little shaky feeling.
No, actually pretty calm. I've been doing it for a long time, but I wouldn't say nervous, but just having to help my clients not be nervous, not be scared, not be stressed out.
Okay.
So I try to take on theirs and mine.
Okay, what does it feel like to you when you're on the line with those people?
That's a really good question. It's anxious, yeah, a little anxious.
Why does it make you feel stressed out?
Because I don't have control of the outcome.
Okay. So with you, I would be working on feeling in control, or feeling like it really doesn't matter, that you're not in control at the moment, because you'll be taking control later on. And techniques to find out, to better ask questions that put you more in control. And under hypnosis, the way I work is we would do it very standard. Sometimes things like dial just make you feel you can control your feelings of control, or do crazy things, images, mythic journeys, stuff like that. Depends on the person. Anybody else? Sleep issues. Anybody having trouble falling asleep at night? I can't believe that. That does not happen in the real world. Any questions?
Leela,
Okay.
what is the difference between hypnotherapy and psychotherapy?
About 6 months to 20 years and tens of thousands of dollars. The basic answer is that psychotherapy is done while you're awake and you're conscious. You talk it out. Hypnotherapy is done while you're in hypnosis and you're working directly with the subconscious mind. And it's behavior. Everything we do is a habit. Everything we think is a habit. My job is to change that habit. And sometimes, if it's a long ingrained habit, you just have to go to the source. Or sometimes, the only way to really knock it out is to make the reason you're doing it seem ridiculous. I do that a lot. Something, you know, it makes sense with a phobia. You're scared of a spider. Okay. So, number one, being scared of spiders is normal. Number two, you don't want to be scared of the spider? Well, what I'm going to have you do is hypnotize you. And usually I just do a 1, 2, 3. And suddenly the spider will look ridiculous. And I keep doing that until the person starts laughing. And the more they laugh, the less scary it is. And then eventually we start to feel sorry for the spider because it's just, aww. And I make them put it back and it's not scary anymore.
I have a question. I deal with a lot of veterans, you know, who have post-traumatic stress,
right,
and people who had other past traumas. How do you deal with that?
Very delicately. I have clients with post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of it is making sure that what needs to stay in the past stays in the past. That if we do bring up memories, we do not bring up the emotions with them until they're ready for it. Sometimes you have to do complete body work and nothing else. I even use some MDR techniques. You know, that was then, this is now. Then this is now. And they start processing, at least mentally, out of their cells, those memories of being abused, of being trapped. And it depends. It's interesting. Once people have worked with me, we stop the panic attacks pretty quickly. Or if they have a panic attack, they'll call, and I can get them out of it. And I thought it gets interesting. They'll have flashbacks, which is actually a good thing, but they're not particularly emotional. And we can just say, okay, this happened. You were kidnapped. We'll deal with it later. You know, but it happened and you faced it, so this is good. But it's safer to deal with it in a hypnosis where you're absolutely safe. I also do a lot of work with people who dissociate and, you know, bringing them back to the present, bringing them back to their current age, you know, whatever they need. Okay.
How would you help someone who's going through the crisis right now, say like a catastrophic type of illness like cancer? How can you help those people as patients?
I do a bunch of different things. You know, everybody's different. Number one, with everything, and Jan knows this one, you have to get people in touch with their bodies. You have to get their minds feeling like they can actually have power over what's going on inside them. One of the people I've studied has these great images that I use of the T cells fighting with swords through, you know, body, the lymphocytes coming on, and I start it from the night, because while you sleep, that's when your whole lymphatic system is actually reproducing itself and growing. So we work a lot of that with that. People at the later stages is when you start actually doing life transition. I do a lot of metaphysical imagery. And, you know, grief. You know, it's not when somebody else dies that there's a situation of grief. It's when you're about to die that there is a situation of grief, and that needs to be worked with. Thanks.
Cool, thanks.
Have you ever met anybody you couldn't hypnotize?
No. I've met people who did not want to be hypnotized and said stop, but they've always been under. I think Mark probably would say the same.
You asked about people who have trouble going to sleep. Are there things you can do to help people whose sleep is disrupted?
Yeah. One thing is I like to get those people very deep and start talking about how this is the state you want to be in, and that's where you'll be at night, and nothing's going to, you don't hear anything, you don't notice anything, and we'll go through that. A lot of times a sleep tape is really useful because then it will get them down, and I make sleep tapes for free for my clients, which are personalized.
I wasn't clear, I'm sorry. People whose sleep is disrupted because they have to get up as a caregiver or parent.
We'll work with that and make sure that while they are asleep, they get actually the extra benefits of sleep. Or if they do nap, incorporate that. So, right.
Christine covered my point.
Oh, good.
So then you said you were certified. What does it take to become certified?
It's really just about a year-long course and some period. I had been doing it for so long ahead of time that it was mostly interesting in the things that I had not been aware of, and a chance to really look at things from a different way. And I got to indulge myself by spending a lot of time learning different forms of imagery.
I have, in previous conversations with you, you have compared the conscious mind and the subconscious mind to like an iceberg, in that 10% of everything you do is the conscious mind, and the rest, a la that which is below the water in an iceberg, is all subconscious. Do you have a minute to maybe elaborate on what that means?
What it means is that the conscious mind doesn't count. It's the truth, but that basically the conscious mind is there for us to think with. We use logic, reason, rationalization. But what really is affecting us is what the subconscious mind does and how it's been trained. Because everything that we do is a habit. Habits are based on what has worked in the past. Well, it's going to stop working. And the reason, well, I can go into psychosocial evolution, but I won't. But that's where it all came from. But, you know, it's funny, when people always say we only use 10% of our mind, that's nonsense. We do use different parts of our brains for different things, but our subconscious mind is always working. Our conscious mind just isn't working while we're sleeping. So.